What's up, everyone? We are reporting live from the AI4 Conference with QQ Boo Boo, CNQQ's AI correspondent. We got you covered today, and we are going to explore everything AI. Let's get into it. We are here at the AI4 Conference. We are seeing how AI is reshaping every industry, and CNQQ ETF offers investors access to China's broader innovation ecosystem, spanning AI, semiconductors, advanced manufacturing, and digital platform. It is going to be such an amazing day. Tune in with us.
For the second. This is the 9th AI4, and we are welcoming more than 12,000 attendees to this show from more than 100 different countries. Can you give yourselves a round of applause for showing up? This makes AI4 the largest independently organized AI for industry event in North America. Now, over the next few days, you're going to hear from some of the brightest minds in artificial intelligence across the industry, government, academia, and research. You'll explore breakthrough technologies, real-world deployments, and the conversations shaping where AI goes next.
Now at AI4, we have people who argue for each of these different outcomes. Admittedly, there is something absurd about 1 second talking about ROI, and the next second talking about what we're going to do when the machines take over. But that is the narrative today. That is our present-day situation.
So Radical Numerics is an AI research lab, and we train AI to be able to read, write, and basically make DNA programmable. And so think of large language models acting on language. Now we're training it on the direct substrate of life. And when you think about giving AI the potential to basically to manipulate and engineer life itself, I think this opens up a lot of questions, not just about medicine, but what it means to be human and what it means to essentially, what do we want AI to do for us as humans?
We obviously think about that a lot at Generate. In fact, that's why we call ourselves Generate. I think to me it's actually related to a point that Eric just brought up. It's this point of programmability. The way we make medicines today, every drug is kind of a heroic one-off effort to sort of treat a particular section of the population. But what if it were possible to do this more programmatically, in a more repeatable and scalable fashion? We can look at other disciplines where that's already the case. There's a lot of that is true in engineering. How does that happen? Well, we have reusable parts. We have methods that are tested and reused.
Every time you launch a drug to a developmental candidate to this wonderful point before human clinical trials, you complete approximately 1.2 thousand steps. And every one of those steps can be accelerated with AI. And you have to be good at all of those steps in order to deliver a good drug. But what you probably need to know about in silico, so we are focused on aging. So one of the most important diseases or biological processes that all of you have, so you might not have cancer or diabetes or Alzheimer's, but all of you have aging.
In this case, it was a harmless virus. It can only attack bacteria. But to Alice's point about creating a fine line of when science can be helpful for human health and when science can be used to potentially create something dangerous or be misused as a potential bioweapon. And so this was a key turning point for us at the company, Radical, to make sure that our technology is both applied to human health, right? Being able to understand how disease functions in our body, and make drugs for it, but also to use that same frontier technology and actively deploy it on the defense side. So pushing both on design and defense.
Usually within a traditional drug discovery approach, if you are, let's say, a big pharmaceutical company and you want to start a program that you want to reach the point, this wonderful point called developmental candidate, one step before human clinical trials from zero, it usually costs you about 4.5 years in time and tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars. If this big pharmaceutical company moves its R&D site to China, that time frame becomes 2.5 years. So you actually save 2 years by being in China. And then on top of that, if you use frontier AI technology, you can save additional 1 year or even more. So my record was 9 months to average across 31 developmental candidates is now 13 months.
That's a good question. It is a bottleneck in working with AI in biology. Ultimately, the ground truth is when you physically manufacture or build it in a lab and test for its function. And so when you're creating something new, you have heuristics, kind of like how you might have heuristics in training other types of models in AI. But ultimately, you have to test it. So there are things you can do for some of these heuristics, like look at how similar it is to nature, compare it to structure, things you've seen in the past. But ultimately, a bottleneck and constraint is actually testing it in the lab. In many ways, you can still think of how we're working with AI in this space is to limit that, narrow the search space.
So we surveyed 900 CEOs from 8 different countries around the world. And from large companies that are $500 million plus in revenue. And here's what they told us. 96% of them believe their employees are using Gen AI without approval. That's almost all of them. 42% confirm that half their employees are already doing this. The demand is legitimate, and the infrastructure is missing. This has happened before. We learned the wrong lesson. The companies that are going to win the AI era aren't those that are going to adopt AI the fastest or control it the hardest. They'll be the ones that build the missing foundation under the work that their people are already doing. That's the whole talk. Everything from here on out will be what that means, what the costs are if you go through that, what we actually need by this foundation. Everyone in this room says agents are a digital workforce. I hear it constantly, keynotes, panels, podcasts, but almost nobody takes that to its natural conclusion. If agents are labor, we should treat them like labor. The business unit that owns the outcome decides what agents to build and deploy, the same way it decides who to hire. Because business understands the work. The business pays for them, which means they move off the IT cost center and move into the business P&L. Accountable to productivity and ROI, just like any other resource in the business. The companies that win won't be the companies that deploy AI the fastest or govern it the hardest. The companies that are going to win are the ones that build this foundation under the work that people are already doing. The work belongs to the people who understand it. Everything else is the foundation. So it's time to shift your mindset and think about how your company will start to hire AI.
Obviously, the chips that sit underneath it, they are the underlying fuel, they're the oil of a token-driven economy, right? So for AI, I think the demand is unlimited for intelligence, so we see this insatiable demand, right? Underneath that, you have that almost insatiable demand for compute, for infrastructure, for memory, that goes against it. We have severe limitations of how we build those chips today. The capacity of manufacturing is limited, right? It takes a long time to build these extraordinary capital-intensive factories. that wonder to some of the most sophisticated manufacturing that's ever been contemplated in humanity.
The better lesson was that as you grow more compute at a problem, you just are able to solve more and more complex problems. And that's really been the lesson of this decade. I think when OpenAI talks about this consistently, we kind of always talk about AI evolving, chatbots, reasoners, agents. We are now really at the point where our AI networks and soon AI engineers and AI researchers will come. So the AI itself going through this progression as it is rolled down from just chatting with us and reasoning with us. And all of that is just scaling off. The bigger lesson is showing up, it's just going into that.
More semiconductors, we need more data centers, right? More communications infrastructure, build out infrastructure. Second is efficiency. Today's GPUs suck, right? They're very power inefficient. They're computationally limited. Memory today, HBM, is a very inefficient memory. It's just the best one we have, for AI modeling today. So efficiency, we need much greater, efficiency in AI processing, if it's going to reach its potential. Third, energy, right? In a digital AI economy, essentially economic capacity equals energy capacity.
We are here at the Google Cloud booth. Jason, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hey, great to be on the show, John.
Yeah, thanks
for the opportunity. So my name is Jason Davenport. I'm an area technical lead at Google. So what that means is that I help a team of about 600, do things with AI, and then we also work with developers externally to do a lot of cool things with AI.
Awesome.
So I built a lot of things and talked to a lot of people.
Well, when you think of the future with like AI agentic, like the evolution that's kind of happening right now, what do you think is like really the foundation for everything, whether it's chips, networking, or platform capabilities, or even chips? What do you think is the foundation?
It's interesting. I think right now we're definitely in the kind of chip-heavy era. If you look at a lot of stuff, even we're doing like CPUs. NVIDIA's work in GPU space is really cool. A lot of that is based in like how do we make these things easier and more accessible for users. I'm personally really interested, in kind of the next phase of like edge AI.
Yeah.
So how do we think about running subsets of large language models, so small models, on the phone or at a endpoint in the edge or something like that. I saw a really cool example of someone running a 27 million parameter model-ish on an ESP32.
Yeah, that's wild. What do you think as far as like as we're building the future? What's the biggest bottleneck?
Biggest bottleneck, I think one of the things I think about in terms of the bottleneck is just like what is the creativity? We've proven, right, with large language models and small models, we can do a lot of things, right? But I think the question is, how do we do it more efficiently?
Yeah.
So, hey, I did use an AI thing for doing something at work. It's like it wrote 5 lines of code. And I was like, this was a total waste of like CPU time, right? So how do we solve that efficiency curve? The other thing is like, well, how do we actually make it useful? So, we see a lot of that in coding today, right? It is making, work more efficient and more useful, but what are other industries where this is going to really take off? And I think it's a super cool time, but we're right on the edge of a lot of these things, and it'll be curious to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, it kind of feels like almost like everything's kind of even converging here at the AI4 conference. Yeah. What would you kind of say is like going to be like one of the key decisions that is really going to allow companies to really accelerate or be ahead of the game versus other companies when it comes to like architectural designs or even infrastructure?
Yeah, so there's a lot of ways you could take something like that. I think one of the things is I think about how companies leverage AI. I typically put it in 2 things. There's building with AI and then there's actually building AI.
Definitely.
So let's talk about the first one first and then the next. So building with AI, I think a lot of companies is just getting to like kind of what's your common plane that users are interacting with AI on? Are you all using the same stack? Are you all improving the same stack?
Yeah.
There is some level of we all are converging onto using agents. So how does everyone at the company make the agent better? At the coding work. Building AI is kind of a different area, but I think where is that going, and how companies unlock it. I really think it's a business transformation problem.
Yeah.
It's not a technical problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a technical problem too, right?
Of course.
But hey, what does your customer actually want out of AI? Like, how do we, how do you delight them? How do you find the new business opportunities that AI has now unlocked? And like, that's where product managers, engineering leaders, even the C-suite have to really understand, like, what does the customer get value on, and then how does AI make that better? And I think a lot of companies are getting there. Some are really far ahead on that, and some are just starting. But that's what's going to separate kind of this next batch from the folks that don't get there.
Well, awesome. Thanks, Jason, for your time today. We appreciate it. We're excited to learn about the Google Cloud.
Yeah, swing by. We have an awesome booth here.
Yeah.
There's so many other cool booths here, but thanks again for having me on, and looking forward to talking with you soon.
Of course. Thanks, Jason.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate it. All right, we are at the Dataiku booth with Carlos. Carlos, tell us a little bit about what you do and what Dataiku does.
Sure. I'm a sales engineer in Dataiku. Dataiku is a platform that helps users to create AI enterprise projects so they can be ready to move it to production. So right now we are doing a lot of stuff. Like, for example, we just released Cobuild, which is an agent assistant that helps you create these project-ready, production-ready projects, AI enterprise, just using natural language, that you can just ask the assistant to do any kind of workflow, to build an agent, to do data preparation, machine learning, whatever you want. And it's going to help you. It's also very helpful for first users. So if you're a newbie in Dataiku, you can ask whatever you want to the assistant, and that will help you. That will guide you to know more about the platform. So it's very cool.
Okay. So, bigger models aren't enough anymore. And when you think of just compute, network capabilities, or platform capabilities, what do you think is the real foundation for an AI agentic future?
I would say it's all about prompt engineering, and how you can also manage all the processing, the computation, that demand. Like, for example, because I've seen some agents, for example, that work very well with one prompt, but then you throw another prompt and it costs like the triple. It's like, it's more expensive, it's less efficient. So I would say the future is kind of in how you optimize your agents based on prompt engineering, and also how you connect your agents to that data that is more important to you, like the most relevant data in your company. So I would think that's it. And also another huge thing that are very important, like how can you govern your agents, right? Because everyone now is talking about agents, about AI, and that reminds me when back then everyone was talking about big data. It was the thing that was very popular. Well, now the thing's popular is agents, right? So everyone is trying to build agents, everyone's trying to create new agents, but how can you govern them? Because what happens if you try, 50 agents, you develop 15 agents, but you don't know which one is the best for your business, which one is the best for your company. So in Dataiku, we're also releasing a new tool that is called agent management. So it's really cool. I think I have it here, so you can show it. So I have a lot of demos here.
And don't go anywhere quite yet.
So this will be the view of this tool, agent management. So here you can see, for example, the status of each of your agents, how many agents you have, the status, the behavior, and the platform for each of the agents. For example, here we have 183 AWS Bedrock agents, 200 Snowflake Cortex, and you can also see for example, the business impact, which is very important, the operational health, behavioral analysis, testing, risk and governance. So these are a lot of things that are very important right now, because we are creating a lot of agents from many platforms, and it's very hard to manage them. So this tool will be very helpful to that, to govern your agents.
What do you think for the future is the biggest bottleneck for building an AI agentic future?
The biggest problem.
Bottleneck, yeah. Is it chips? Is it compute? Is it infrastructure? Is it efficiency?
Actually, I would say that it is to get value of your agents.
Yeah, ROI.
Yeah, ROI, exactly. Because probably you can spend, I don't know, thousands of dollars to build an agent and to put it to production, and then you see like, well, I could have saved money just by hiring a human, for example, like an analyst or a data scientist, and I will save thousands of dollars just by, I don't know, hiring a data scientist, and they will do the same thing or probably better than the agent, right? Yeah. So I would say that's the thing, because many companies right now are struggling to get value from their agents. So actually this kind of tools is very helpful, because here you can see like the business impact, right? So
yes.
if you go here, you could see like, for example, what's your ROI for your agent, for any specific agent that you have in your business.
So what would you say, like, I think when we think of like a couple years out, 5 years out even, what is going to be the most important decisions that companies make today that will help them have a competitive advantage?
I would say that they have to find out which is like the best use cases to implement an agent.
Okay.
So they can get the most of the value from it. Because I think like many companies, I work with many companies, like for example in the US, in Europe, in all the Americas, many companies, they don't know what to build. But they just want to build an agent, but they don't know what's the purpose of that agent. Like what is the use case? So I would say that the most important thing is to identify what's the best use case, so you can build an agent and you can get a lot of value from that.
Yep.
So I think that's a thing.
Okay. What's up, everyone? We are at the Okta booth with Matt. Matt, tell us a little bit about Okta and what you do at Okta.
I am a solutions engineer. I help customers in their journey to implement either customer-facing authentication services. We're here today to make sure that customers that are building out agentic solutions for their employees are making sure they understand where their agents are, what they're connecting to, and what permissions they have.
Yeah. When you think of just the real foundation of an AI agentic future, you know, whether it's infrastructure, compute, or platform capabilities, what do you think is the foundation?
I think it's based on making sure least privilege is adhered to, because we've seen all of the articles on the breakouts and agents having too much permissioning, which enables them to go do too much and put organizations at risk. So our story is making sure that agents have the right access at the right time, just in time, oftentimes, short-lived tokens that are scoped to the permissions that they are previously certified to access, and that will give organizations the confidence to deploy them at the speed that they want to and be agile, but do it in a secure, safe manner.
Yeah. What would you say is like one of the biggest bottlenecks for building, you know, an agentic future?
I think what I see with our customers is just FUD with the industry, because vendors sometimes are, you know, like ourselves, you know, using confusing language and overloading terms, and they're getting confused. So I think providing clarity to them of happy paths and basically ensuring that, you know, like the job you're doing here of providing education, you know, clear language on what these entities do and how they do it, I think is really key for understanding, and then we can move forward together.
When you think about, you know, just 3-5 years from now, what do you think are going to be the key things, decisions that are going to be made that, you know, really allow for an AI agentic future, whether it's infrastructure or, you know, again, platform capabilities, networking? What do you think is the key decisions that will really set people apart?
I think the key decisions are, do we move with a vendor that adheres to standards like cross-app access, so that there's consistency, that we're not locked into a particular vendor stack or a particular agent framework? providing that neutral heterogeneity will, I think, enable them to have flexibility long term to potentially move off of one vendor to another, gives them best of breed type capabilities. I think that decision to avoid the lock-in will be a key decision point for them long term.
Okay. Thanks, Matt, for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time today.
You bet.
What's up, everyone? We just got done with our first day here at the AI4 Conference. We saw so many great keynote speakers, and man, was the exhibit hall off the chain.
Yeah, no, the whole thing was crazy. So I had a specialized scent made just for me that was a pretty incredible experience.
Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that you could talk to AI and have it just, you could describe memories, you could describe your feelings or whatever, and then it just make a scent.
Yeah.
Mind-boggling.
It's absolutely wild. But what was crazier is just the topics that we got to see today. And we talked to the Google Cloud, we talked to Dataiku, we also talked to Okta as well.
Yes.
And there's so many other brands that we are excited to cover. And today's topic obviously was building an AI agentic future. And what is the foundation for that? And so you got to hear from top leaders about all of that. And what's crazy is the gamut of opinions is wild, whether it's networking, compute, infrastructure, or architectural decisions. Everyone has an opinion. So, but AI is the future. And I think the one thing that I thought and heard mostly was just efficiency. Everyone has all these AIs that are just running and doing various things, but the biggest thing is, how are you using them? What's the ROI? Is someone even monitoring? Do you have agents monitoring the agents that are actually running?
Right.
Are they running efficiently, or are they just using tokens and you have no idea? But we are headed into a crazy future, and so we are so happy to be here today with CNQQ Boo. Of course, we got our boo-boos, which is our AI special correspondent today at the AI4 Conference. Tesla owners of Silicon Valley reporting live on day one.